Chick-fil-A is the most popular chicken sandwich in the USA. Year after year, it regularly comes out as the favorite chicken voted by consumers. And did you know it can also help pack on the muscle? Maybe, possibly. Or are we just trying to make ourselves feel better about eating fast food? Perhaps it's a little of both, because we love Chick-fil-A and we plan on continuing to eat there. Either way, in this video, we're going to break down the muscle-building potential of the Chick-fil-A fast food chain. We'll first determine what's needed to build muscle, how many calories are required, and what nutrients do you need. Once we know what we need, we can then research the nutrition of Chick-fil-A and determine if it delivers what your muscles need. Oh, and stick around as we're going to give you some great options on menu items you could choose to drive your growth. But first, let's get a little background on Chick-fil-A to find how its chicken sandwich has become so beloved across the country. Chick-fil-A was founded way back in 1946 by Samuel Truett Cathy. Originally, it was a fast food restaurant by the name of the Dwarf House and opened up in the Atlanta area. At this time in its infancy, it had a substantial menu, but its famous chicken sandwich hadn't been invented yet. It remained this way for 15 years until 1961, when a discovery would be made that changed the chicken sandwich game. Wanting to find an alternative to hamburgers, Cathay found a pressure fryer that was able to cook a chicken sandwich in the same time as hamburgers, and the result was delicious, and the rest was history. The restaurant slowly merged and expanded and became the Chick-fil-A we know today. At its birth, it was the first national chain to specialize in making a fast chicken sandwich, and this is how it's remained until today. Now you might equate a food being made fast as being not so tasty. You sacrifice some taste to save some time, but not Chick-fil-A. They are delicious and are routinely voted as best tasting. In fact, the primary negative complaint about Chick-fil-A has nothing to do with their food but the politics of the owner. But we won't travel down that road today. We just hope we never get to a point where we would have to boycott Chick-fil-A because we're not sure how long we could resist. Anyways, what started out as one delicious chicken sandwich evolved, and now the Chick-fil-A sandwich has grown into at least 6 types, including variations such as grilled and spicy. In addition to the chicken sandwiches, you can also dine on some salads, nuggets, or your typical sides such as fries. Over the years, Chick-fil-A has gained a reputation amongst bodybuilders, both recreational and pros. You can even find the likes of Kali Muscle chowing down. Its main draw is obviously their delicious chicken. In general, chicken is regarded as a healthier meat option than ground beef, especially the kind you may get from a fast food chain. When looking at the nutrition of different sources of meats, chicken breast is the most popular choice among lifters due to its high percentage of protein and low-fat content. At the same time, Chick-fil-A prides itself as using 100% natural whole breast meat, as well as not using any type of hormones or filler. This alone makes it very attractive for bodybuilders who are trying to get in as much protein as they can. Speaking of protein, let's dig a little deeper into what protein is and why it's so important for your muscle growth. Protein is one of your 3 macronutrients and is responsible for the repair and building of muscle. It's essentially a long chain of compounds known as amino acids, 20 to be exact. These amino acids all play various roles but are ultimately the building blocks of muscle. As such, you need to make sure you eat enough if you want big muscles. So how much protein do you need to eat? The RDA for protein is set at a measly 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight or 0.37 grams per pound of body weight. However, this number is set to give an adequate number for the majority of people on Earth to sustain a healthy life. However, bodybuilders and athletes aren't average individuals. Going to the gym and lifting weights 3 to 6 times a week causes a great deal of stress and damage that requires more protein, or at least if you want to build muscle. Therefore, the average number given for lifters is 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, or 0.73 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. This means a 200-pound man would need to eat about 200 grams of protein daily. When looking at a person's total calories, this usually comes out to being around 30%. Now, you're obviously not going to eat all these 200 grams of protein in one sitting. A basic guideline is to spread this protein out across the day in 4 to 6 servings, 3 to 4 hours apart. Ideally, these meals are of similar amounts of protein. Therefore, if you were trying to eat 200 grams in a day, each meal should contain about 30 to 50 grams of protein. In addition to protein, you're going to need a good amount of carbs to help fuel your workouts while also filling out your muscles with glycogen. If you want to maximize your muscle growth, this is not the time for low-carb diets. The good thing is that Chick-fil-A can provide plenty. Unlike protein, which has a much more specific intake, your carb intake can vary greatly. Not including low-carb diets, this will generally be anywhere from 50 to 60% of a bodybuilder's diet. Similar to your protein intake, your total carb consumption should be spread out across the day as well. The one meal that you may want to give some special attention to is your post-workout meals. After your workout, your muscles' glycogen levels have been completely diminished. Therefore, it's important to replenish these as fast as possible, so you'll want to eat some along with your protein. In the past, it was believed that you should eat a protein-to-carb ratio of 1:4. As your protein intake should be 30 grams of protein, your carbohydrate intake should be 120 grams. That's a lot. However, researchers now believe this can be lowered, especially for recreational lifters. You may see the number go anywhere from a 1:1 ratio to a 1:3 ratio. This means that if you ate 30 grams of protein, you should eat somewhere between 30 and 90 grams of carbohydrates. So, does Chick-fil-A deliver? Could you build muscle while eating Chick-fil-A? Yes, absolutely. Putting all other nutritional concerns to the side for a minute, a meal at Chick-fil-A has plenty of protein and carbs to pack on muscle. You can easily reach your daily needs simply by eating the majority of their menu items. Many of their sandwiches have about 30 to 35 grams of protein. For example, their regular chicken sandwich packs 29 grams of protein and 420 calories. Assuming you were to only drink water and not use any of their sauces, you could theoretically only eat these to get in your protein and hit your calories. With that in mind, if your main source of protein is going to be Chick-fil-A, you will most likely be performing a dirty bulk. A dirty bulk is when a bodybuilder increases their calories significantly to promote faster muscle growth. Usually, a lifter is advised to eat a surplus of 300 to 500 calories, while 300 may be the optimal amount. This will be enough for muscle growth while not too much as to add a lot of fat. Under a dirty bulk, the lifter will eat significantly more than this. Most on a dirty bulk won't even watch their calories as long as they are eating enough protein. For this reason, we would recommend you not use Chick-fil-A as your only source of protein. Doing this could possibly bring about some nutritional deficiencies, but we will talk about this in a little bit. However, let's say you are trying to lose body fat or are trying to run a body recomposition. Are you still going to be able to eat at Chick-fil-A? Yep, Chick-fil-A has a couple of high-protein, low-calorie food choices, specifically the grilled Chick-fil-A nuggets. The nuggets pack a crazy 25 grams of protein per serving at just 130 calories. This comes out to being 77% of calories from protein. To be clear, this is basically what you can expect to get from some protein powders. Now, those are the most lean options on the menu, but there are some other good choices as well. Even the regular Chick-fil-A nuggets come in at 43% protein with 27 grams of protein at 250 calories. We just mentioned that Chick-fil-A has some nutritional concerns. At least if you're only planning on eating Chick-fil-A, we wanted to address those right now. Again, this is really only an issue if you plan on only eating Chick-fil-A. The first nutritional problem that screams out is the sodium intake, which is a common criticism of eating fast food. Most of the chicken sandwiches have extremely high sodium content of 1,400 milligrams or more. Given that the recommended sodium intake is only 2,300 milligrams, this is a ton. Just 2 sandwiches will put you well over the limit, at least according to the American Heart Association. We'll get into this a bit. Eating too much sodium can cause a number of negative health effects. It can cause you to hold on to water, cause high blood pressure, headaches, and lead to heart disease. However, research out of University of California, Davis has suggested a new theory concerning sodium intake. The study suggests that people will naturally seek out an appropriate amount of sodium as the brain will almost self-regulate. This means that maybe the concern about sodium may be exaggerated. Researchers monitored the sodium levels of individuals from over 45 countries for more than 50 years. Before we go further, realize that a lot has changed in 50 years. For example, the obesity levels of Western countries have skyrocketed, as well as various diseases such as diabetes. In addition, our diets have drastically morphed, as well as the rise of the fast food industry such as Chick-fil-A. At the same time, this study looked at 45 countries. These countries have drastically different diets and food sources. However, researchers found that sodium levels have remained constant for the entire period. This level is 2,622 to 4,830 milligrams per day. The bottom line is that the scare of high sodium may not necessarily be warranted if you have no underlying health conditions. Why is this so important? Well, because high sodium levels are often a major criticism of eating Chick-fil-A. Now, we're not saying sodium doesn't matter at all, but it's something to keep in mind. However, even if sodium isn't an issue, this isn't the only nutritional issue with Chick-fil-A. If you were to only eat Chick-fil-A, you would also be missing out on a lot of your essential micronutrients like vitamins and minerals. While not usually associated with muscle growth, a deficit could also affect your muscle function and muscle growth and overall health. This is why you want to eat a variety of food sources, especially including plenty of vegetables. Now, you could technically only eat Chick-fil-A sandwiches and hit your protein requirement while also eating an appropriate amount of calories. However, this would limit your food selection and leave no room for the addition of other choices. Okay, so maybe only eating Chick-fil-A isn't the best idea. The good thing is the solution is easy. Don't. Be sure to include plenty of other foods. But now let's go back to what you should eat at Chick-fil-A to build some massive muscles. One of the things we love at Chick-fil-A is that some items allow you to add a protein a la carte. This means you could instantly give your meal a protein boost of 21 grams at just 110 calories. If you're looking for a muscle-building dinner, add a side of grilled chicken nuggets to the market salad. Normally, this meal packs 550 calories with 28 grams of protein. By adding the nuggets, you're going to get 660 calories and 49 grams of protein. Due to the added almonds and salad, this is likely going to be your #1 muscle-building meal on the Chick-fil-A menu. It's high in protein, a decent selection of food sources, and low in calories. Now, what if we were to tell you that there's more to Chick-fil-A than just a dose of protein? You could also use Chick-fil-A to possibly improve your workout. While most bodybuilders think of Chick-fil-A as a post-workout meal, you could actually stop by for a pre-workout, especially if you train in the morning. Many will exaggerate the effects of training fasted and act like your muscles may just fall off. They won't under normal circumstances, however, it's still not optimal. Ideally, you can get a little bit of carbs and protein in your system to help fuel your workout, while providing the muscles with amino acids to mitigate muscle breakdown. However, eating too much can cause digestive issues for many people. So, what should you eat? One of our favorite pre-workout snacks is good Greek yogurt, like the Greek yogurt parfait at Chick-fil-A. Made with Greek yogurt, fresh berries, and granola, this treat packs 31 grams of carbs to fuel your muscles and 12 grams of protein to build them back up. But that's not it. Most people love a good pre-workout, and Chick-fil-A has our favorite, coffee. So obviously we're talking about the beautiful caffeine found in coffee. There's no need to spend a bunch of money on a fancy pre-workout, as we're going to tell you secret. The primary active ingredient in pre-workouts is simply caffeine. After examining multiple pre-workouts, research has concluded that caffeine is the most effective compound. Other ingredients may or not be beneficial, but don't come close to the value of caffeine. Caffeine is a mild stimulant that can help to mitigate time to fatigue, increase energy, decrease rate of perceived exertion. This just means workouts don't feel as hard, and that increases total workload. Newer research has even shown that it can increase strength and power output. Further, studies have shown that coffee works just as good as a caffeine pill, assuming the dosing is equal, so grab a cup or two before you hit the gym. So let's talk about your post-workout. Chick-fil-A has several great sandwiches and items that can help supply your body with carbs and protein. But before we get into that, let's first talk about some liquid calories. Chocolate milk. Yep, drinking some chocolate milk to have right after your training could be a great idea, and it's not just because it tastes good. And while it does have protein and carbs, there's still another awesome quality of it: hydration. Researchers have discovered that because of the consistency and compounds found in milk, it sits in your digestive tract longer than other liquids such as water. As a result, this allows your body to absorb more of the water that composes milk. This makes it an amazing hydration beverage. How amazing is it? Very amazing, even better than water. In fact, there are studies that even show drinking milk post-workout acts a better option for hydration than actual sports drink. Now, with that in mind, we can also acknowledge that it also does have 7 grams of protein and 23 grams of carbs per serving as well. Of course, you'll need to increase that after training, but it's not a bad start. After your milk, it's really up to you on what food item you want, which would depend on your goal and caloric needs. If you're trying to make some lean gains, you can't go wrong with the grilled Chick-fil-A nuggets we talked about earlier. However, the grilled Chick-fil-A sandwich is also a great option with 390 calories and 29 grams of protein. Eating this with a serving of milk would easily put you at 35+ grams of protein and 530 calories. This is definitely going to drive some muscle growth. Keep in mind that we have only gone over a few of the menu items from Chick-fil-A, while many others could do the trick as well. Regardless, it turns out that Chick-fil-A actually does have some muscle-building options. We definitely wouldn't suggest you only get your protein from Chick-fil-A, but it could definitely be an option once in a while. We also want to say that we are not suggesting this is the best option or healthiest, but we also believe in moderation. And so if you want to grab a Chick-fil-A sandwich after your Friday workout, you're going to be okay and can expect your body to be fully satisfied. To recap, we want to go over just a few guidelines on how to make the most out of a trip to Chick-fil-A. The first is to stay away from any of the liquids other than the milk, especially soda and diet soda. These are just empty calories and will do nothing good for you. You could maybe down some juice immediately after a post-workout, but milk is going to be your best option. Also, stay away from most of the sides, waffle fries, desserts, etc. However, there are some good options such as their fruit cup, yogurt parfait, and kale crunch side. There's also one side we want to specifically point out, the chicken tortilla soup. It brings 24 grams of protein at just 340 calories, making it an awesome snack or even a meal. Concerning the sandwiches, the best option for those on a cut will be the grilled chicken sandwich and the grilled nuggets. Or if you want to get some breakfast, check out their egg white grill. 300 calories and 28 grams of protein. All of these could essentially fit in a diet with a caloric deficit. Now, if you are on a bulk, the choices would depend on you and your caloric needs. Keep in mind to look at the salads and remember that you can add a side of grilled nuggets on top. For dressing, stick with the light Italian or light balsamic vinaigrette. Turns out that America's most beloved chicken sandwich makes a pretty awesome post-workout meal too.